I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. So, first item of business is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting August 8th, 2022, and then we'll also approve the minutes of the annual meeting August 22nd. We might as well do them both in one motion, and I will entertain that motion.
I move to approve both meetings.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve both meetings of August 8th and 22. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business is the approval of our general fund vouchers 79718 through 79788 and wire transfers 20230043 through 20230
I move to approve.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to approve the general fund vouchers and the wire transfers as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is the public comments on the agenda items, and I believe someone did sign up for it tonight.
Dan Lundgren.
I did.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
So just a reminder to everybody, when we have our public comments on agenda items, that we're here to listen, you're here to talk, and there won't be any conversation back between, but we welcome your comments, so
Okay.
give them to us, Dan.
Well, I just have a problem with this 7 mindsets that you guys approved. I don't think it's right that the school is teaching how children should think and values and that stuff. I think that should be up to the parents. They can teach values and how they think, how they should succeed. I don't think it's the school's place to be doing that. So I don't know why we're doing the 7 mindsets. And I would like to, I don't want my kid to participate. So that's what I have to say. Is there something we can do about it? Revisit it, or?
Well, I can't answer any questions, but what I can do is recommend that you talk to the principal of your child.
I have talked to them, and they just suggest try it, and I still don't agree with it. So I think someone should speak up. I don't know. I just don't like how it wasn't brought up to the public at all. I mean, something like that, you think you would have a little discussion about it with the public, and that never happened. I never heard nothing about it until I listened to your meetings on YouTube. So I thought that was kind of bad, especially right before the school started. You guys implemented that. But I don't know. That's my opinion, so I just wanted to bring it forward.
Okay. Well, we thank you for that. And like I say, I recommend that you talk to the principal, and if you need any more information about that program or whether or not to have your child signed up for it, like I say, talk to them about it and you can get your result.
But it also seemed like you guys didn't really discuss it at all. I listened to it. All you were cared about was what's the results. So, I mean, no one seemed to really discuss anything about it. No one had opinions, no one had questions, just how's the results, basically. I don't know. Just seems like you guys didn't really follow through with it, but.
Well, we might revisit that then again. That's why we have people come forth with things, so when we get the opportunity to discuss it, I'm sure we will.
I wish you would, because I think it's the start of who knows what's next, you know? I mean, look the way things are going in the country. So,
Yeah.
anyways, my
Dan.
opinion, just wanted to voice it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next item of business then is item A, Food Service Department Report. And I believe Penny is in here.
I am.
Penny is in the house.
So, first, I was just going to talk to you guys about our breakfast and lunch, our meal components, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're required. So for breakfast, we have to offer a grain, a fruit, and milk every day. And the students have to take at least 3 food items. One of them has to be a half a cup of fruit or juice. So those those are requirements for breakfast. And then for lunch, we have to offer the 5 food components. So for lunch, it's components. We have to offer grain, meat, fruit, veggie, and milk. And the student has to take at least 3 full components, and one of them has to be fruit and or veggie, a half a cup. So, and then we do offer versus serve. And the whole idea of offer versus serve is that we reduce food waste, and that it allows the students to choose the foods that they want to eat. So that's something that we implement in both breakfast and lunch at both sites. It is required at the high school, but at the elementary it's not. But that's part of our contract. So, and then
Can you like explain more in a layman's terms, what does offer versus serve actually mean? Like, what does that mean? What does that look like as a
so what
student
it means
goes
is
through the
when a student
line?
comes through the lunch line, you don't just have someone putting everything on their tray. That they get to say, no, I don't want corn, or yes, I do. Or like on the salad bars, they can pick and choose what they want to take and how much they want to take. So hopefully it encourages them to only take what they want to eat so that we have less waste. And that way we can offer more food too, more variety. Does that answer your question? Or
Who
help?
has to monitor who, if they take what they're supposed to?
So the point of sale person has to make sure, and when we get audited, DPI actually stands near the point of service person and make sure that they understand the requirements. And they also can't be making them take things that they don't have to either. Like milk. I mean, no student is ever required to take milk. They can. I mean, they have to take their full components, but they don't have to take milk. So just to make sure that the point of service really understands what the student has to take and doesn't have to take, because you don't want to force them to take things that they don't need to either. So.
But we will sometimes, especially at the elementary school, get kids come through with, one thing or 2 things, and you have to sometimes remind them, nope, you need to get a fruit, or you need to get
Right.
a vegetable, or something like
Yeah,
that.
and even at the high school, we'll have a student that will come through and they'll have maybe 3 fruits on their tray and a milk, and they still don't have enough because they only have 2 components. So then we have to tell them that they either have to take a meat, a grain, or a vegetable, so that they get 3 components. In breakfast, it's all items.
Oh.
Right, and then the biggest change this year is obviously we moved back to the free, reduced, and paid meals, like we were prior to COVID, 2019. And what the USDA did was they offered us, or we have higher reimbursement rates to offset the supply chain and our food costs, because our food costs are a lot higher than they were. And they're continuing to go up, and the supply chain is definitely still an issue for us. I try to order in pretty much everything a month ahead. So when I do the menu, I actually have it in the freezer or in my dry storage. If we're not sure if we're gonna have it, sometimes I'll put a cook's choice on for breakfast, but otherwise we are really trying to have it in-house, because you just never know if you're gonna get it or not. So it's definitely still a challenge, and our goal is still that we're trying to serve high quality meals with variety. We're still trying to offer all our choices and such. But
Are you running into storage issues with having to be so far ahead?
yeah, I mean the freezers are always full.
Yeah.
They're pretty full until the end of the year. But yes, that is definitely an issue, and it's a lot harder to work when you have so much stuff in there, but we try to do our best. It's probably me more than anybody. Lori knows. So, but yes, storage is definitely can be an issue. And then if it's a perishable item, we're not going to order it ahead of time. We still obviously do that. So, and then just our reimbursement to. Without the paid meals, our breakfast numbers have definitely gone down, but I would say they're similar or maybe just a little bit higher than they were fall of 2019. Our high school lunch participation actually has been really good. These first few days, we're probably a little over 83%, so most kids are still eating hot lunch at the high school. elementary numbers are a little bit lower, probably a little less than 80% or about 80%. And we find that it's kind of typical back to before there were free meals, where students at the beginning of the year, some of them want to bring cold lunch, and then that wears off after a while and they start bringing hot lunch more. Or they're picking and choosing what menus they're eating, but, so. Do you guys have any food service questions? We did hand out, or I did hand out a nutshell just that explains just the food service account, you know, how it's a nonprofit. And Lori's always a good one to ask questions about why we do things the way we do, so.
I got a question, Penny, and I don't know how deep you want to get into it, but, you know, back when when we had the Obama days,
Yep.
from your job standpoint, the change in administrations down the line, how has that dictated or changed your ability to create your menu? I mean, have constraints come and gone? You know, because, can you speak to that a little bit?
It has changed. There's waivers right now partly because of the supply chain issues. There are some waivers, but they're still pretty strict about what we can and can't serve. I mean, right now, this year, 80% of our items have to be whole grain. I don't know how they came up with 80%. They change things all the time. But right this year, it's 80%. So, and most of our items that we serve are whole grain. So, especially breakfast, most of them are. But, I mean, it is still pretty strict. They're trying to keep lowering the sodium. They want to keep lowering the sodium, which is a challenge because cheese has a lot of sodium. A lot of the things that we get from USDA, our commodities, have, you know, there's sodium in it. So even milk, everything has sodium in it. So it is challenging. There's a lot of political aspects to why they do things and don't do things, and it does change from year to year.
Right.
But yeah, the supply chain thing, they're really struggling to try to enforce some things because they know that we can't. Our hands are kind of tied. Some schools are even struggling just to get milk or bread. They don't have anybody who wants to do bread bids. CISA 11, we struggle to get anybody to do a bread bid because they're just nobody. They don't want to deal with schools. You know, there's not a lot of money in it. So yeah. So it's definitely still a challenge.
Thank you.
I've noticed some other schools around us have been recycling foods. Like if a child decides they don't want to eat something, is there a reason why we haven't adopted something like that? Or?
Well, during COVID, we definitely weren't, and our county sanitarian does not recommend that we do a sharing table. You have to have somebody who mans the sharing table too, and you know, to sanitize all the items, to make sure that they stay in the right temperature. So we really try to encourage the kids to take what they plan to eat and to use the offer versus serve. So it's basically educating them that they don't have to fill all their compartments up. That, you know, at breakfast, if they only want to take 3 items, that's all they have to take. So that they don't waste. That's what we try to encourage. And that's same with the salad bar. That's why we do it. They, you know, instead of serving it to them, we let them choose what they want. So we have opted not to do this sharing table.
Well, from the little bit of time that I've got to be in the cafeteria, it sure seems like things are going great there, and you got some good choices for the kids, Penny. So hats off to the job that you've done in there. So.
Thanks.
Not gonna say anything about whole milk, huh?
I thought I would save that plug for later on.
We can't serve whole milk.
There's less sodium in it.
We could serve 1% flavored, but our CISA bid is with Kemp's, and they don't even offer it to us right now. I have tried, so I mean, yeah, we did have 1% chocolate for a couple years ago. ago, and it is definitely better. And I would prefer to serve that to at least the high school kids, but we can't get it from Kemp's right now. They're not offering it, so our hands are kind of tied. But everything, it has to be 1% or less.
Well, thanks for trying.
Thank you. I push it as much as I can.
Well, and Penny, I want to echo too with, through the pandemic and post-pandemic and with the challenges we've had with supply chain, I know, you and I have had conversations one-on-one the last few years, and, you've been, worried about getting food in, and I've told you, and I want to tell everybody, I'm like, I eat school lunch quite a bit, noticed zero change in the quality of what we're offering, the variety of we're still offering awesome meals. I think that's evidenced by the number of kids participating, despite the challenges of getting items in. So that's a compliment to your skills. So
Yeah, thank you very much.
You guys are welcome to come have lunch at the high school.
I usually do in the elementary once in a while.
Yeah, that's where I eat too.
We might be trying to stay away from our teenagers.
I think my daughter would like that.
Yeah.
Very sure of that.
Not as cool.
Maybe National School Lunch Week, we could have some guest servers.
There you go.
Is it open back up so parents can come and
Mhm.
eat with their kids? Great.
Any other questions?
Do you guys still do turkey and biscuits?
He's gonna come on
we
that
have it
day.
next week, I think on Thursday.
And do you still do the stew that they used to do when we were kids?
I don't know what you're
I think it came in a 5-gallon pail. It was so delicious, though.
So delicious.
Just watch the calendar, Greg, come in.
I'm pretty sure it's high in sodium,
I was
Greg.
gonna say-
No, you're not gonna get it.
We have
3 whole milks.
We do homemade turkey gravy biscuit.
Penny's heard my story multiple times when I was a little boy and I didn't want to eat school lunch, and my mom got me to eat school lunch on turkey and gravy day, and there we
There
go.
you
It was
go.
all over. Then I ate school lunch after that. So.
I'd say I also appreciate you guys doing the extracurricular activity type stuff too, and helping out with those things. That's
The lunches and all that.
Oh, sports lunches.
Oh, yes. Yeah, most of the time it works out pretty well. Last year was a little bit challenging because we were,
Supplies or-
yeah, and it was just, we served a lot of meals here last year. A lot of meals, more meals than I think this is my 13th year. Last year at the high school, I had the record for breakfast and lunch. I think, wasn't it, Lori? I'm sure. And it was, and then when you add, some days, you do 40 or 50 lunches on top of that. It was a little bit challenging. But
Well, I hope a lot of the challenges that you've faced the last couple of years kind of go away, like I think most of them have, so you can kind of cruise into status quo for a while.
Yeah, hopefully it gets better. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Penny, for
Thanks,
coming in.
Penny.
Okay, the next item of business then is the discussion and approval of our band choir trip.
There's a handout here.
To Hawaii, and you're looking for
To Hawaii,
it's
of course.
not
Yeah,
even close to Hawaii.
It lists at the top 3-day, 2-night, but we're actually looking at a 4-day, 3-night tour, and they have the pricing at the bottom. It's correct down there. So we're looking at traveling to Chicago over the beginning of spring break. So initially the plan would be we'd leave the Saturday, and then actually return the Tuesday following on the 14th. So some of the sightseeing things that they list on here, the Museum of Science and Industry, the Magnificent Mile, Water Tower Palace or Place, Shedd Aquarium, Skydeck Chicago, and Park Zoo. Very, the big things to do in Chicago. But then also, music-wise, to make it more music-specific, they'll be working on finding us performance venues in the city of Chicago to play at least once for the band and choir. And then also a private clinic workshop and adjudication at a major college or university. So we're planning on that on our way back, stopping at one of the UW schools, or we have a wide variety of options to hit up. So, and then also going to Annie on one of the nights that we're down there, one of the Broadway productions they do. We're also looking at doing some, not included in the price, it would be covered by the music department, like going to a second show one of the nights. But that's just a different option that we have as well. Just trying to provide some cool opportunities for the kids. Originally, we were last year we were looking at New York and Orlando, but with all the pricing problems we've been having has affected travel, so this is a more cost-effective, we felt, for the short term, so kids that have been waiting for a band trip since 2020, they actually get to experience hopefully something before they graduate. So.
Looks good.
Okay.
The other thing is you sidestepped the whole airfare thing and getting stranded. Yep.
Well, yeah.
Which you can speak to.
Right, yeah. We're well prepared for that.
You've been there.
Yep.
Well, you did a really good job putting this together with insurance and everything. And
For the company, this is the company we used in 2016 also when we traveled to New Orleans, so we've worked with this company as well in the past, so that helps as well.
Well, I can say that was a good experience. I was on that trip with my daughter, and it's great.
What kind
So-
of numbers are you looking at? Like, what do you think students are for, I know that's hard.
Right, I hope around upper 40s, I would hope. And then they do quote this at 52, but I think that's including both Mrs. Wallace and I and additional probably 2 or 3 chaperones on there. So I would think that's at least 47, give or take. The plan that we've talked about, if we're short on numbers, we'd offer it if we're looking for art club. If we need to open it to certain like music kids that are in 8th grade, we would touch base with families on that. If to at least open that opportunity so we can try to keep that level, the price where it's at numbers wise on there.
So what are kind of the next steps in the process? If the board approves tonight and says go forth with this, what are your next steps?
I think our initial step is just to get the interest and then a deposit set up. Even though we do have a lot of kids that put their deposit back in 2019 when we were looking at that trip, but we just to figure out which kids are interested in going and pretty much going from there. And then we're going to establish some fundraising stuff, some new fundraising ideas we have, and I think that's the next big step is just the interest group. So.
Well, good stuff then. I don't know, does anybody have any other questions? Then I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the band choir trip for spring break.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded to approve the band choir trip. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion passes. Good luck. All right, next item of business is the approval of the updated adult meal prices.
Okay, so if you look through your packet to get past the vouchers and transfers, there's a sheet in there. I'll give you a chance to get to it. It's towards the front, right? Just right after the voucher sheets. So you know, back in July or August, I think it was actually July, you approved the meal prices. We try to get those done ahead of time so we can get them into the newsletters for back to school and everything. We do get a kind of, you know, as the school year starts, the last few years now, we get a formula update, or so to speak, and Mrs. Nordby is works with Mrs. Kobernick, but Mrs. Nordby is kind of the key point person on this. But we need to make an adjustment to the adult meal prices. So we had approved 408 was the amount that was required by the formula. We have no control over that. That's the lowest amount we can charge. And that was last year. This year we said let's make it 410 so it's even cents for making change and stuff for those adult meals. So we had approved 410 in July. With the formula that we received here in mid-August, it needs to be adjusted to $4.30. So it's an increase in the lunch prices for adults. And then the breakfast price actually goes down. Go figure. If anyone wants to be bored with the details, I do have a formula sheet that Joy kind of walked through with me, but it's based on, you know, the price of a student meal, and then factors in other things that, you know, cost of food and so on, required upcharges, whatever. So we have the lowest amount that we can charge for both, basically. So it's an adjustment down for the breakfast price. I think that was $2.40 2:30, and adjustment up for the lunch prices, unfortunately. But like I said, we have zero control over that. So.
Okay,
Just
I'll
wanna-
entertain a motion.
I move to approve the updated adult meal prices.
Second.
We probably moved and seconded to update the adult meal prices. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed. Motion passes. Next item of business is the approval of a resignation. Want me to do it? I'll let you do it, Chris.
Okay, so we just have Mr. Blanchard is resigning as head basketball coach. He's going to step down from head basketball coach, and I think informal discussions, he has an interest probably in still supporting the program in some other way as an assistant or a volunteer in a different way, but he's decided that he wants to step down from boys basketball head coach.
I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve a resignation. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is the approval of our hires.
Okay, so we have 3 hires. They've been in place, but these were people that were hired after our last board meeting in August. So first one is elementary night custodian, and we hired Dominic Dimmler for that position. We have Mr. Casey Keller, hired to teach a section of chemistry and then also provide classroom support for the distance learning Spanish classes. Again, hired him in late August. And then we have Patty Jacobchek, contracted her for a number of days for school psychologist and consultant. So those are and again, as familiar names there, Casey and Patty are obviously recent retirees who were interested in coming back on a part-time basis to help us out this year.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the 3 new hires.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve our new hires. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is the approval of the home school part-time enrollment application.
Okay, so there's just the front page of the application in your packet, and this is a case, we've done this a few times over the years, but we have a student who is homeschooled whose parents requested to participate in a couple of classes here at school. We do have the option to allow this. We have allowed it in the past, and I would recommend allowing it. And we actually, because we got the application after the last board meeting, we have had the student start. But the student is a sophomore, asked to take, would like to take pottery first semester and horticulture second semester. So I would recommend that we allow the student to participate. Any comments, questions? Go ahead, Skip.
I move to approve the homeschool part-time enrollee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the homeschool part-time enrollment application. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The next item of business is a review of the start of the school year.
Okay, so Mr. Melberg's not with us here tonight. He was out ill today, so he was not in school. So I did send him a text message and ask him if he had anything specific that he wanted me to report for him. But he just said in general, excellent start to the school year here at the high school. Lots of enthusiasm. New students, new staff, or not necessarily brand new staff, but staff in new places. But he said lots of positive energy and lots of good things. A good start to the school year. Keeping it simple for that. So, and then Mrs. Anderson.
Yeah, so we kicked off the in-service, and kind of the theme was impact. I said on your to-do list, number 1 is always impact. What kind of impact are you going to make? And then get all your other things underneath that, but really that student relationship piece is the biggest piece. Along with building that community, we had our CISA consultants come in, so we're really working on our academic strengths with reading and math. And we also did some training on the regulation strategies to help kids work through some difficult emotions that they may have, and did some training with our new recharge room, which hopefully one day you guys can come on over and see what we have going on at the elementary school. We had our open house on Thursday, September 1. At the time, we had 280 students. Our enrollment has gone up a little bit over the last week or so. 275 students with their families came to open house. And since then, we've been off and running, sometimes literally, and working really well as a wonderful team. We just really assembled just a dream team of educators in it for all the right reasons. So support staff, every facet, we're just there for the reasons of student success.
Very nice. Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. The next item of business then will be discussion of the WASB regional meeting opportunities.
So I put the flyer in your books again because I didn't know if you had them. And again, this is just making sure that it's available for information. I know they offer a lot of things throughout the year. The fall meeting has a business meeting component to it, so I know it may not be as appealing to everybody always. But the other part of it is on the back side of the sheet. It does have all the webinars and the live webinars and recorded webinars that are available too. So just wanted to make sure after the annual meeting, the electors did opt to continue with the process of having 2 sets of board development or participation in board professional development. So I just want to make sure I'm doing my due diligence to.
Do these webinars cost money, or do you have to?
We are members of WASB, so it's paid for
Okay.
for us. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And we have some already. I've listened to some, so yeah, they're good.
Obviously, their big event is in January, the annual convention in Milwaukee. So we'll talk about that as time goes on. I've never participated in that myself yet, so kind of looking forward to that. So just point of interest, just to throw it out there.
Okay, so then the next item of business is review of Neola Board Policy Update process.
Okay, so if you page back toward the back part of the board packet, there's a page. It's actually 2 pages. I had printed off a document before I was quite done with it, and then I printed the new and improved version, and the other one was on the back of another page, so I stuck it in. So it's the one on the right is the more updated one that's got more information. Kind of give everybody a chance to find that. Put my pen, there we go. So anyway, I had a couple of meetings this past week with people from Neola. So the first one was a meeting. It was a webinar, a Zoom, basically, to learn kind of just technical overview and how to navigate the website and how the process works from the technical side and logging in and kind of managing the site a little bit. And then a day later, as it just worked out, had a meeting with Chris Petrito. He is our local representative from Neola who covers like northern Wisconsin. He's a retired superintendent. And those were very informative. Spent a couple hours with both sessions. So just to remind everybody new on the board or in the audience, so what Neola is an organization that we have a contract with, and we are buying their service, and what they do is they help keep our board policies up to date. So we purchased the Neola model policies, and those are they are written by attorneys and their staff and vetted, and that includes so Neola is a nationwide company and they offer policies in I don't know how many different states, but definitely in Wisconsin. And so what they do is they monitor updates and legislative changes, legal cases, important legal cases that get decided at Supreme Court levels and stuff like that. And so when there's an action that happens that would have an impact on school policy, they're on it and they go in and make the necessary adjustments to make sure that your board policy is in compliance with the law, or best reflects best practice in the law. So So I think it's a really great thing that we subscribe to Neola. In talking to other superintendents in my role as a new one, I've had other people echo that as well, or say, yes, you should be glad that you have that in your district. If you didn't have it already, you would want to try to get it. It's a good thing, especially for a smaller district like ours. We don't have a legal team, we don't have a full staff that we can dedicate to just monitoring board policies all the time. So they do that for us. So anyway, that just kind of the background overview. So I just want to talk kind of how the process works. So twice a year they put out an update. So it was about 4 years ago, maybe, I think, that we kind of adopted their general package of policies for our school board policy. And then what they do then is they offer an update typically in late fall, like December, and then in May or July, somewhere in there. So twice a year you get updates. They send them out to you. They go on to your draft side and inside of the board docs website. And then what Mr. Portrito does, our rep, he goes in and he helps pull them over into our draft folder. He'll schedule a meeting with me to kind of give an overview of what these policies mean, kind of go through and give the run through of what the options are. You'll see inside the drafts, there's the red and the green options, kind of goes through what the different options are, kind of go through a first rough draft together and put something together then to bring to the board. So then, when they put out that package of updates, there's a fair number of policies in there. I mean, sometimes maybe it might be half a dozen, or sometimes it might be 12 or 15. And then we bring them to the board. And one of the things that we need to, I think, reestablish is having a first reading and a second reading of our policies. So it's not illegal to only have one reading of policy. So there was kind of this. I know I was misunderstood years ago that by law you had to have two readings at two different board meetings. That's not the case. However, it's good practice, and I believe it's this is the best thing for us to do. And I think so. The way I'm envisioning how this would work is, Chris and I sat and we put together a plan for how to get us kind of caught up. So as we were going through things, he was looking at our site with us in this room on the big screen and going through the updates, and we're just kind of behind on some of our updates. So we've got some going back a while that we just need to get caught up on. So there's that. So if you look at the bottom of the page, the bottom half under the line, he and I kind of developed a proposed timeline to get us up to speed here. So just mapped out the meetings for September, October, November, December. So tonight, first reading or distribution of there's a bundle. The non-discrimination and harassment policy is a huge bundle. There's like 12 policies in there because there's a policy for teachers, a policy for support staff. There's policies for all the different aspects of it. That was one he said, I would try to get that one done with urgency, or that, just to get us the updated policy and make sure that we're in the best place to be compliance-wise. So that's why I put those all in there. And it's a huge number of things, a lot of pages, because it's a big bundle. And then the other part of volume 30, number 1 update. So again, that's kind of how they label their updates that they put out. So there's, every volume is a different year, and then update number 1, update number 2. So we just mapped it out. Then we would come back in October with those same exact policies, do the second reading. So that allows tonight kind of introduce, just hand them out to you. First blush, look at them. Got time to look at them, ask questions, come back to the next meeting in October with questions. And also then having more chance to actually read them, because I think we've all talked about kind of consensus of, not wanting to have where we're having to read here during the meeting. So then on approval at the second meeting, and then again in October, then I would introduce the next round. So we'd have another bundle to give to you, the volume 30 number 2 and the volume 31 number 1, and you can see how it just lays out there. So that by early December we should hopefully have everything up to date. And then that's about when they'll put out their new updates. So then we'll have the next one. We'll do hopefully then December, January, or January, February. We'll get to that, and then we'll be caught up to speed for a while. So a lot of the things that they put out are not new policies. Most of them are new. They're just taking our current policy and just updating it. Once in a while, there will be a new policy. There's a new law passed, or there's a court case again where they recommend, hey, you should probably have a policy on this. So the things that I gave you in the packet are
So all their strikeouts are in red and all the new wording is in green?
So the new wordings are in green, yeah. So if we want to pull them out and look at them here.
Is there any green on this page, Chris?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, you can't do color?
I can't tell. The
Oh, no. Well, that's right.
So,
You
but
mentioned
they-
that before, didn't you,
But they
Skip?
strike out the red.
The
and
red is
green
struck out, yeah.
bolder.
Underlined.
Can you see that?
So this is
You
all,
can see
Yes.
the underline,
this is
right?
green?
Yep, so
And
that, the
the
bolder
bold is
print
green.
is green,
This all
and the
looks
red
the
is
same
striped.
to me.
And
This right here, these 3 lines, is the same as that?
No, these ones.
Yep,
all
so
this.
that's all green right
Okay.
there. So these 3 lines are not colored,
Yep.
yeah.
and so that's old. But when you get down here, you should be able to see that it's a bolder, kind of heavier print.
And it's underlined.
That's all green,
And this is red?
and it's underlined, and that's red, it's striped
Do you
through.
wanna-
So if it has a line, it's
Do you want
red.
to go back to
Yeah.
Neola and tell
Yep.
them that
That's
this
And the
isn't accessible?
underline is green.
Because most colorblind people can't see red and green.
Well, the
But
thing,
it's bolder too, it's a,
I would
Do they
say,
make glasses that change that?
They-
Can
they
you
do-
get glasses
they do.
for-
Yeah, my
for
cousin-
what I would say though is look at the underlined ones are green and the strike-through ones are red. So if you, then you don't have to look
I
at the
can figure
color.
it out.
Yeah. So, anyway, but there, yeah, so there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11.
How many of these are?
12, 13. There's 14 of them that are in the bundle for non-discrimination.
Aren't a fair amount of these like state mandated where you can't change them anyhow? Or
Yeah, that
Some of
was
them you can't
some of the discussion I had with Chris is, he said, remind us if you start going in and striking language or changing things around, he goes, they come with a warranty, basically. They call it a warranty. So, because Neola puts out the updates, and then they come to Wisconsin, and there are 2 legal teams, 2 law firms in Wisconsin that specialize in Wisconsin school law, and then they go through them and vet them and make sure that they are appropriate for Wisconsin. So yeah, I mean,
There's not much for us to change, it's just to be aware of.
yeah,
right, that's my point.
yeah,
Yeah, but don't be, just
Right.
be aware of the fact that these policies we have in place that we've adopted over the years are our operating guidelines.
Yep.
So these are what we lean on
Yep.
for our operation and our decision making. And it's also our protection.
Yep.
Right.
Protects us from
Yeah, there's some
liabilities
that
and
give
that
more
kind of
leeway
stuff.
for changes, there's some that really don't.
But there are, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, if a school district goes one way a little bit more and every one of these policies I'm sure at Neola has 6 different versions to pick from, correct?
It's more.
Not to use 6, but
It's more version, or it's more choices within the version. I'd say there's
Right.
choices within it, and it's absolutely accurate. The board can just nix a policy and not have it, or we can write our own policy. The thing that happens then is we just need to understand that we don't have the backing of Neola, or that it's not.
Well, you can always have a lawyer check it out. Right?
yeah, and previous to Neola, that's what we used to do. We'd go to our lawyer, we'd create a policy and have the lawyer write it
Yeah.
for us, and then we would adopt it.
Yeah.
Well, we went through WASB before.
Yeah,
We
model.
Did their model.
Models from WSB, but I would say, having been here a while, we're not as up to date on things, keeping things up to date as we are now. But yeah, we can absolutely, we can change the language. He just, he said, make sure we all understand then that you lose Neola's, backing, so to speak. But,
So
there's that big bundle, and then the other ones, the second group, that volume 30 number 1 update. There's the first one. So if you go way to the back of there's if you take the big clip off of there and get past all the staples in the back, there's a paper clip, and that's that second bundle. Most of those are shorter, simpler, but there's the board member information request. That's a new policy that they created. Sexual and other forms of harassment, that's an update. That's not new, that's an update. The whistleblower protection policy, that is a new policy. There's an explanation. This one, there's a whistleblower policy. This one includes administrators. So that was the part that was new about that.
You're going to blow the whistle on yourself?
I guess so. And then the staff, technology, and responsible use and safety, that's again, that's an old policy, it just had some new language added to it, and some struck. And then student mental health services is a new policy. No, sorry,
updated.
it's an
It hasn't been
update.
lined
Yeah,
through.
yeah, and this is applicable to us because we do offer a mental health clinic space in our buildings to come in, and so that this would govern that process. So that's just kind of the introduction, and
So today is considered our first reading then, and we'll be looking to have us probably go through all this stuff and be ready to move on it next meeting.
yeah,
Looks like.
yeah, and obviously, that's a lot there. So I think to expedite things, come in, have them looked at, and with any specific questions or anything like that ahead of time, or even if it's something that's a question ahead of time that I can try to find the answer to, to look at, that would be helpful too. Let's see. The other thing too, I had on this sheet in the board book too, we had approved some policies. So some of the things, back in April we approved a couple, May, June a few, and then those were never. So the way the process works is the update is published. Our rep puts it into our drafts. We bring it to the board approves it, and then at that point, then we send it back to Neola saying, I say, hey, it was approved by the board on this date, and then they add it it becomes out of the drafts and into our policy. So there's a couple of them that we need to catch up on from April, May, June that just weren't sent back to Neola and told like, hey, this is approved. So I got to do a little bit of back work on that with Chris. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is he said, so they issue updates. There's two kinds of updates for the board and then what are called technical updates. So he said technical updates are when it's just like there's no meaning changed inside, or there's no what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a language change where they adjust a definition or they fix a wording instead of. I don't know.
It doesn't change the intent of the policy.
It's a grammatical thing. Thank you for saying that better than I was struggling to say. So they're called technical changes, and so he said what he recommends, what he did with his board is that when you get the technical changes, he would list them like in the board notes. He said they don't need to be an agenda item or need board approval. But he said it's whatever your board is comfortable with. So we don't have to decide tonight. But if you want to think about it, and we can talk about it next time. But he said you can put it into your board notes and just say, hey, there's technical changes to these policies, and you just kind of list the policies. And he said that's kind of the best thing he recommended, rather than having to approve every little because they changed the law to something else. So. I think that's it on the policy updates. So,
All right, policies, fun stuff. All right, let's see. Next item of business then is review first round of board policies, which we kind of went through, right?
Yeah, I guess we kind of mixed I and J together there.
All right. We talked a little bit, Chris and I, and this is, I suppose, the time to throw it out there. We talked a little bit about this tree right here, and are you thinking you might want to send?
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that was another part of the discussion to bring up. So, Board Docs has obviously an electronic. It's a login. So all the board members have an account. How many of you know your login? I mean, be honest. I had to look mine up.
I remember.
I do.
You guys know them, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I created an account for you, Matt.
Right.
So
when we first started, I believe that's how
Right.
we did it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I guess.
Well, you
That
worked
is
up,
how
yeah.
we did it,
Yeah,
I
as
don't
we
know.
used the site.
Yeah. So is that something we'd like to do? I mean, yeah, we can save.
Or just attach it to an email to us. That works really good for me.
Yeah, like on
Right.
Friday.
Yeah, unless that's.
Right.
It's easier to give you the link to go because I had to download everyone and save them separately.
Oh, okay. No, and that's
So,
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm gonna read it. Is on my computer.
Yeah. We'll go to board doc. Let's just get everybody
Yeah.
in there and.
Okay, go to Board Docs, and then I'll figure out, how to make it look right when you go in there,
As long as they're reading the right
As long as
ones.
you give us the right numbers, we'll get it.
Yeah, make sure you got the right ones, and because there is, and right now, once we get through this process till December, I think things will get cleaned up a lot in there. But right now, there's a lot of stuff in the drafts. It's like that's why when I would go in the first time until I got trained, I was like, "What is all this?" It helped when I went through with Ken and with Chris. I understand how to navigate it better and what it all means. So.
Well, as long as we're only getting rid of trees, are we ever gonna go to our Chromebooks and away from this beautiful binder?
I'm good with that. Matt, did you get one?
I haven't got one, but that'd be great.
Well, the thing is about that is, I hope that that's not a lot of work for Christopher, to get us kind of set up on that. So.
Isn't it just accessing our email?
Right,
Do you guys
everything
have-
that's
do
in
you guys
here.
still have your Chromebooks, or
Yeah.
did we take it back?
No.
No.
I hope we don't have record of it.
They're
We
here
do.
somewhere.
I think they are here somewhere.
There might be over there.
No,
I
I
have
think
mine.
I got.
I have mine at
I think
home.
they have them. They're not in
Do
there.
they?
They're not in there. I looked in there. I don't think they're in there.
Mine's been holding my office.
Yeah, all we would have to do is open the email you sent us, and we would have everything here.
Right. Yeah. And we can actually, Board Docs has a section to it that is, we can put the whole agenda on there. I can attach all the attachments that
Yeah,
I
to the links.
send to you.
Yes.
I can put it on there. Is that a route we want to go?
Not that
Is
we have to do
Whatever's
it now,
easiest
but
for
if
you,
we could
Chris,
do it by
We'd have the
January.
ability to go back and do
Yeah.
things that.
I still would like a printed of just the
The
agenda,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but nothing else.
Take those on.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
to scribble on it.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, not right away, but maybe by January. That's our
like,
goal,
I-
is to
like,
get there.
I don't want to put pressure, because if we're gonna do it, you might as well do it right. Number one, some of us have to find our Chromebook.
Yeah.
Two, we have to figure out the best way to do this.
Yeah. We'll
And
have
what-
to,
Well, what prompted that conversation is all of this that we got to go through
Right.
here this first year. So.
We'll have to make sure, maybe plan to bring your Chromebooks to the next meeting so that, because if you've got them and you haven't been using them, they probably need updates and maybe a little bit of work, I'm guessing, from Mr. Osmondrud. So there's probably a lot of updates sitting there, and then he could make sure they're all working and updated, and then, make sure everybody's got their email, their school login, and I can make sure. I got to learn the Board Docs side of how to make it an electronic meeting. I learned how to go through the policy stuff, but I'll have to learn how to do the, the meetings, and the agendas in there. But if that's something that we want to work towards, that sounds good. I don't think it'll be more work or less work for myself,
It'll be a lot less for me.
because for you,
Oh, yay!
yeah,
There's a win.
we drop it in there, and it's slick.
Okay. The next item of business are our superintendent notes. Mr. Peterson.
Okay. Gotta find them here. Obviously, start of the school year, lots of excitement going on. Going back to, into August even, since the last time we met, we had those kickoff events in August. We had Camp Junior High. We had the open house at the elementary school. I think we're very successful. Had a chance to drop into both of those, and were great. We had a full day in August where we had our new teachers come in, people who were new to the district. And Mrs. Anderson was the lead person on that, because all people who are brand new, the teachers are in her building. And I got to participate in that in a very small way, but it was a great day, and I know that Mrs. Anderson has shared what a great experience it was. And anything to add that you want to add to that?
No, it was
Okay.
just
Sorry,
a
I'm putting
lot
you on the
of
spot.
eager and energetic educators, so.
Yeah, and you did it a week ahead of time, a full week before the regular, so they had time to digest. And
Yeah, so the Monday
That's good.
before the actual teacher in-service time, they came in, and even one of our staff members who had worked here a number of years came to it as a new educator, so Mr. Kamanik came, and got back up to speed, so.
Yeah, our in-service days, this is the second year that we've had 3 in-service days to start the year instead of 2, which has kind of brought us back. I think that's more typical. Schools have at least that. They were very full days. They were busy days. We had our CISA consultants. We purchased more days, so we really are taking advantage of those in-service days. So I know it was a little bit more intense schedule for the staff than some years, but there was still time to work in there. But it was really good. A lot of great engagement. We had a great start to the school year. We had a short week to start, and then another short week after. And I think that was really nice for kids because it's kind of the shock to the system for kids to come in for those first couple days. And especially those little, we always have sleepers on the bus from kindergarten those first day or two, and so it was nice to start that gradual way. I really think that was good. Certainly our fall sports are in full swing. High school and junior high have all had events and competitions. Marching band and pep band and dance and cheer are all full swing going on right now. Again, our new staff, I think, have been off to a great start, getting settled in, getting to know their colleagues, and then now getting to know their new students. New kids in the building, new students, again, settling in. And I think the great thing that I would point to is the way that our new students are welcomed by their peers. There's always excitement. We're a small school, so when there's a new student, there's lots of kids who want to give them a lot of attention, and sometimes maybe a little overwhelming, but I think, really a great atmosphere for that, and with the adults, of course, welcoming our new students in a small environment where they have familiar faces. We've had a few maintenance issues here in August and early September with some air conditioner issues. Mr. Osmond has been on just fixing, nothing overly huge, but a few, little things. We've had Train out here to help us with that. We had a little mishap with our Burley Grimes sign back here. If you heard about it maybe early in the week, but somebody, it was an accident. Somebody at the junior high football game backed up and knocked over one of the lights. They had no idea they did it. We watched the video, quite sure they had absolutely no idea that they did it. And anyway, it shorted out and it started smoldering, and we had a little fire on that pedestal there in the morning that we found. So didn't cause a danger to anybody, didn't burn anything else, but got it fixed, and it's relatively inexpensive to fix it. But if you hear about that, that's what happened. As far as currently going on, working on some DPI reports. A lot of things happen here in September. Third Friday count is a big one coming up here to determine our enrollment. For myself personally, it's been being new. It's been neat to go. I had my first CISA meeting with the whole. They call it the Professional Advisory Committee, or the PAC meeting. It's all the superintendents. So that was on Friday, and the new superintendent series with WASDA continues. So next week I'll be at the fall conference for WASDA for a few days in Madison, and the new series is part of that too. So continuing my learning, and I want to say that there's a lot of support for me from WASDA, from other superintendents in the area, from CISA, so I've really appreciated that. So, and in a couple of weeks we'll have homecoming going on, so lots going on. Great. Overall, very positive start to the year, I think.
What's student counts this year versus last year?
I don't know yet.
Third Friday.
So this Friday is when we do our official count. So the third Friday in September we do an official count of kids, and then the second Friday in January we do an official count, and then that is what our enrollment is based upon. Okay. So we're you said you started the year with 280. I think in the first thing you've gone up a little bit. In this building, I actually haven't. I'm not sure what the exact number is in this building. But it's interesting because we'll have kids, even come in 2 days late, move in from another state, or kids transfer, open enroll. They were going to open enroll, now they didn't, or they were going to homeschool, now they didn't. So that's why they wait till that third Friday to kind of let things kind of settle in a little bit. So Friday's a big day for that. Yeah, good question.
How are things going with the 7 characteristics?
They've had it for one day. They had last Wednesday was the first session of it, and Mr. Melbourne checked in with the teachers and checked in with my own kids, and I think the younger students enjoyed it more. The older students they're used to rap being a certain way. It's because it's during rap on a Wednesday. So the older students, it's a change. It's something different they haven't done. I think for the younger students, it was kind of new and more exciting, and it kind of flows like. From the elementary, they do guidance lessons, every other week, and it's kind of like it's the same kind of thing. It's guidance lessons for older kids, and so I think the younger students were more in tune with it and really accepted it. I think some of the older kids just were the ones that. But again, I just talking to a couple teachers and a couple kids, kind of mixed. It's the first time doing it, so some kids were really positive about it, and I hope some kids were just I missed my work time in my study hall that day.
Are there some kids that leave during rap to go home and work or anything like that? Or is that
We do have some work release
change
kids
those
that,
requirements or?
yeah, we have some kids that leave like 7th hour or different times of the day for work release, yeah. No, we're not having them come back on Wednesdays for that, no.
Any more on the superintendent notes, Chris?
No.
Okay. Then I will entertain, or no, future agenda items. Anybody have anything that they would like to see on a future agenda?
Maybe before the weather gets bad, kind of just a walk through our facilities, check our bus garage, inside, outside, to kind of get ideas for that fund, where we need to head, what are our next big projects coming up. Fund 46 being that fund.
That's on my list, is Fund 46 plan. Not to get off topic, but I've asked Mr. Osmonrud, and we're going to ask the principals to kind of start making lists, kind of analysis of the buildings and what are the things that jump out at you. So, and then we may want to look at bringing somebody in to look at that building over there.
Yeah.
Have we settled on the 19th? Or-
No,
Yeah.
What?
I have to be in Superior
Oh no!
for 2 days. So
Oh,
you can
that's
have a
weird.
retreat without me.
Oh no!
I
Oh,
think we need
that's
all of us.
Or you can wait until the 25th or later. Sorry. We have the Higher Learning Commission.
Well, we
coming
gotta
in,
make it so everybody's here,
26th
so
is
we'll
not
just keep
working.
trying. We'll just keep trying on dates. It's not like we have to do it that week anyway, right?
25th work for everybody?
The next Monday? Not for me.
So that's new from when we talked the other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I just found out today.
Okay.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed. Motion passes. We are adjourned.
All right.